What up, y'all? DCFAYGOGUY. Today we are going to be reviewing Violent J's brand new album, Bloody Sunday. Now, I'm going to be completely honest in this review. Like most people, I met this with a negative reaction, but that's also why I decided to take the week to fully listen to the album before I did this review. I think it's very important to make sure you're reviewing an album, not reacting to an album. So that's what I did. I made myself listen to this album every single day of this last week. And when I say that, I don't say that I forced myself and that the whole time I was not enjoying it. I'm just saying that I made it a point to make sure I listened to the album at least once every single day. And there were a few days I actually listened to it multiple times on repeat. That being because I wanted to fully dissect and digest this album because admittedly, Yum Yum Bedlam, the first time I listened to it, I kind of had this, oh, this is the new Joker card. It took a few listens on that album, and I actually really love that album now. And so I felt it very important to do that with this one here because, like most, I listened to it and I was like, this doesn't sound good. But the more that I've listened to it, the more that I'm actually finding myself enjoying this album. That being said, let's jump into the review. Now, I don't have a physical copy. As of right now, I don't plan on getting a physical copy. That may change in the future. That may not change in the future. I've said it in a few videos now that I'm slowing down on buying physical CDs. That's a combination of things. For one, I have two CD towers, and they're both already getting pretty well full. The one that you can see behind me is basically at max capacity. The other one that I have that's off screen right now it's about 3/4, maybe 85% of the way full. So I'm slowing down on it because of that. But then also on the same hand, right now financially, I can't really swing buying every single album that every artist I listen to is putting out. And $50 for this album was definitely a big way for me to say, or a very easy way for me to say, not right now. I don't know if I'll ever buy it, if they put it on sale, if they don't put it on sale. I'm assuming at some point they may put it out on a standard just CD edition. That's purely speculation on my part because they have this themed as a deluxe edition. That almost tells me that they plan on putting it out standard at some point, but that's, again, purely assumption on my part and purely speculation. So typically in my reviews, I like to show you the artwork, go through all of the artwork with you guys. I'm not going to be able to do that because I don't have it. But if you would like to see the artwork of the album, go through the book. I've shared a couple of videos, one from the homie Echo Side Fiend and one from a new guy that I found actually on Reddit a few days ago, Davey Scorsese. So if you head to my community tab, you can find those two there. And then obviously the homie Juggalo Collectibles he's easy to find, man. He's blown the fuck up. He's skyrocketing as to being one of the top fucking Juggalo channels right now, which is awesome because he puts out great fucking fire content. So if you would like to see the album, that's where you can go find it. And Davey Scorsese actually dropped his review in his unboxing, so you can go check out his thoughts as well. Again, I plugged those a few days ago, so you can go find them in the community tab, and then you can always find Juggalo Collectibles very easily. So yeah, because Juggalo Collectibles is the shit, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, jumping into this, one of the things that I wanted to talk about with the artwork, with the packaging, and that is the book. The book to the art, or the book to the album, was promoted as being a thick 24-page book. But watching everybody's unboxing, I was like, that's the book? You go through it, you get some advertisements, and then you get just credits. Each page, one credit, tells you the song title, who wrote it, who produced it, who mixed it. That's the book. If I bought that and opened that and saw that, I would have been immediately let down. I didn't buy it and I was let down. I was like, whoa, this is what they did with it. For me, I kind of wish that what they did with the book was add illustrations, artwork throughout the whole thing. The cover is absolutely fucking fantastic. Of course, you got Jay up in the corner, which I don't think a lot of people realized it. This made this album actually a Detroit Southwest Lover album because he put his ugly ass face on the album cover. If you don't get that reference, do some research. If you do get that reference, much love to you. Hit the like button. So I thought that was kind of funny. I seen that meme somewhere and I was like, that's actually hilarious because this actually is technically a Detroit Southwest Lover album now, not a Violent J one. But yeah, I think the book, what they should have done, this is what I would have done if it was me, or if I was somebody there when Jay was going through and putting this album together. I'm like, hey, why don't you see how Tom Wood feels about interpreting each of these song titles and just making an illustration of it? You know what I mean? Like, have the actual page that's for Bloody Sunday either be like a zoomed out image of the cover where it's like maybe a pile of bodies and we get to see like how gory that image actually is, and then you flip through and Clown Blood, you could have like maybe an elaborate emphasized version of the single artwork. You go through and you have the hole where they either depict somebody down in a hole looking up and like struggling to get out, or somebody looking down in the hole and just seeing this guy suffering curled up in a ball in the corner, you know. Those were ideas that I had for the book. Again, I don't know if Tom Wood would have been down to do that. I feel like he would have. I feel like he would have been down to do that. But you know, that's the book we got. For me, that was definitely a huge letdown. And if I had a physical copy, I would have been super duper let down. Which, as I said, I don't have one right now. So yeah, I just wish there was more like gory artwork throughout the book instead of what they put in there. I think it was false advertising to say that this is a thick ass 24-page book and it's literally just the credits. I mean, they could have at least put the lyrics in there. That would have sufficed for me. But it is what it is. I'm not going to nitpick the shit out of the artwork or the book because I don't even own a physical copy. So why do I have the right to bitch, right? Let's jump into the intro. What I wanted to do with this review, I wanted to do track by track since I don't have the book to go through and I don't have the artwork to show. I'm not going to play any of the sound snippets like I typically do. I think by now everybody's heard the album, so I don't feel like there's much need to play the songs. So that's not what we're going to do. I decided to go kind of track by track. And what I did all week while I was listening to this, I kept a notepad in my phone, and any kind of thoughts that I had while listening to the album, I just jotted it down. So I actually have that pulled up so that I can reference my notes to make sure that I'm putting my thoughts out there on this review. I'm going to kind of go real in depth with it. So this may be a lengthy one, so strap in, guys. Make sure you got your Faygo ready, or whatever you sip on, because I'm sitting here with coffee. So whatever you're drinking, make sure you're good. Make sure you've taken your bathroom breaks, or take your phone with you to your bathroom breaks. Strap in, and let's fucking go. So the intro, I thought was okay. It's actually grown on me just a little bit more as time went on. I think I did this note super early when I was listening to it. I put, it's okay, it helps set the tone. I feel like it's actually grown quite a bit. There is one thing, and I don't have it on my notes here, but I remember having this thought, and I wanted to make sure that I put it out there. There's a part in the song, and I actually had to go on Genius and find the lyrics. Shout out to Mushy Mustard, who fucking does great transcribing on Genius. He's like always fucking on it. I'm in a couple Discords with him, and it's been cool to interact with him, and you know, he's putting in work for us, you know what I mean? So I actually went and looked up the lyrics because there's a part in this intro where he kind of goes, what was the lyric? I'm going to fucking butcher it now, even though I already looked it up. It was, I want to hear charred up angels sing, or angel sings. I want to hear charred up angel sings. So he pluralized sings and not angels. I want to hear charred up angels sing. So that, like, the grammar Nazi in me was like, you know what I mean? Should have been another take on that, but it's a minor thing. I can easily just kind of skim past that. This is just a fucking intro, so I don't need to nitpick the intro that much. It's a note and it's a thought that I had that I want to put out there. Another thing I wanted to point out that I don't have on my notepad as well, but I remember from the homie Shanzi during my listening party. If you listen to the beginning, you can actually hear Devereaux's producer tag for a split second. You hear like a dev and it cuts off. So during the mixing process, that was just slightly missed. So jumping into Bloody Sunday, the title track. This is a really good track. It really captures the tone of the album and has great lyrical content. I'm going to tell you right now, this is my favorite song on the album because it's just so fucking good. And it's actually the beat that Kuma came up with for this. It's normally in my head every morning. And that's what helps sets the mood for me to, like, I'm listening to Bloody Sunday. Like, when I think of Bloody Sunday, this is what comes to mind. That track right there. It encapsulates the whole fucking thing. This is some dark shit. And I think there's been a lot of people that have made that they've like compared this album to Hell's Pit, that it gives them Hell's Pit vibes, and this song right here is one of the ones that really fucking does that. It pins it to some Dark Lotus shit, it pins it to Hell's Pit, and definitely set off the fucking album great. And maybe that's why some people were met with disappointment as the album went on, because the tone does change quite drastically. We get into Clown Blood. To me, I actually didn't listen to this when the single first came out. I decided to wait for the album since it was so close. So I had seen people say that it was a Kuma beat and that they loved it and it was instantly better than all of the other singles that came out. So I went into it really open-minded, and I thought it started off really good. I actually really enjoyed the track. There's lyrical content in there that's kind of like, maybe he could have spent some time rewriting. The third verse, when he starts rapping about his dick. At that point, I'm ready to skip the song, but I'm also almost to the end of the song. I don't care about somebody else's dick. Like, I don't care that you think my dick is a speckle next to yours. I don't know. That verse just kind of lost me because he starts rapping about his dick and how his dick's so big, and I don't give a shit about another man's dick. So jumping into The Hole. Now, this one right here, I've seen a lot of people meet with like negative thoughts, negative reviews, but then I've also seen a ton of positive shit about. And I was one of the ones that met it negatively first, and as I've listened to it, I've grown to like love it for what it is. So this is, Jay's always kind of sung, you know what I mean? Like, he wants to sing. And I think from years of doing shows, his voice is just so blown out, and it shows in this song. Maybe some auto-tuning could have helped, make this song maybe a little bit more like Nobody's Fault. Maybe. I don't know if that would have ruined it or not. But I also had a thought, and I have it in my notes here, that what if we could have had Legs Diamond on this? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if they're still in touch with Legs Diamond like that, but goddamn, could you imagine Legs on that? Like, in a hole. Could you imagine him like gracefully singing that part? And then later in the song, when he like really goes in a hole, like, imagine Legs on that shit. You know what I mean? Like, all in all, I like the song. I do think that there are some tweaks that maybe could have been done with those parts of it, just to polish it a little bit. Yeah, because there's definitely feels like there's some flatness in there. So, but all in all, it's really grown on me. I think from years of doing shows, his voice has, he's taken a toll on his voice, and it shows here. But it doesn't stop me from enjoying the song. I've grown to like that song quite a bit. Pitch Dark, this one immediately took some time to grow on me. And if you've watched the listening party, you saw in the listening party where I immediately like connected this to a Tech Nine song called Bus Serves. Because that song existed, this song took some time to get used to, because what Tech did with the beat on Bus Serves blew my fucking mind away. And I immediately took Pitch Dark and I compared it to that. I had never heard of cuss words from Too Short. I actually found that out from Shanzi, and then watching the homies Luke the Goon and Mike Sears do their listening party, they immediately made that connection to the Too Short version, or the Too Short song as well. I'm guessing I'm the only one that connected it to Bus Serves, but going back and listening to cuss words, I feel like Pitch Dark is the truest to that original song, because what Tech did is he definitely made it his own, and this felt more like it was the way that Jay raps was the closest to how Too Short did it. I feel like there's something missing though in the chorus, and when I first listened to it, I immediately didn't like it, because what Tech did in Bus Serves is during the bass, when it's hitting, boom, boom, he's commas, so much drama. You know what I mean? He's doing that during that, and I think that's something I was missing in Pitch Dark. So like maybe if he had put, like if Jay put in there Pitch Dark or Darkness, I just feel like that could have amped the song up a little bit more. But all in all, I actually really like this song a lot. It's grown on me quite a bit. I just had to disconnect it from Bus Serves, and until I did that, I wasn't enjoying it. So I think Pitch Dark, really, really good. Jumping into No Friends. Now, the note that I have here is that this is Truly Alone Part 2. Same concept of the song. You talk about how he just has no friends. I think during the build-up, where he, like, it really gets going and he's singing, it sounds like a karaoke party. Kind of like in the whole, I feel like maybe some auto tuning could have helped here, or maybe if he would have just rapped instead. But I feel like maybe that could have connected it too much more to Truly Alone. And I feel like what I like about this song compared to Truly Alone, and don't get me wrong, Truly Alone is in like my top 5 ICP songs because it's a really great song. What I like about this one though is instead of just being so alone and feeling like nothing, that he ends up going on a killing spree. That way he's like just going out with a fucking legacy of I just killed everybody. He actually comes to the realization that his life is worth something, that he does matter. And I think that's a really powerful thing, especially to put in this album right here, that's supposed to kind of be all about that mood and vibe. So I do really like No Friends. One thing that I gotta say though about this is the quote, "If a tree falls in the woods and nobody's there to hear it, does it still make a sound?" That's the quote. What Jay said was, if a tree falls in the woods and no one's there to see or hear it, does it even fall at all? And that was butchered so bad that I literally cringe every time that I hear it, because to me that makes no sense, because the tree would still obviously fall whether somebody's there to see it or not, because then once you go into the woods and see this fallen tree, it's like, oh shit, this tree fell. But if you said the actual quote of, if a tree falls in the woods and nobody's there to hear it, does it even make a sound at all? Because nobody knows. Nobody's there to hear it. I mean, obviously, scientifically, we know it would have made a sound. But the whole quote and why he used it here was basically like, you're suffering, you're alone, you feel like you're nothing. But if there's nobody there seeing that, and they're like seeing that happen to you and helping you through that, do you even matter at all? And that's kind of why he put that in there, I feel. Again, this is all assumption. This is my interpretation. I feel like that's why that's in there, is basically to say, like, if you're going through this, you're alone and nobody's there to give a shit, do you even matter? That's why that's in there. I just feel like if it was done correctly, the quote was put in there correctly, I wouldn't cringe at it, but it doesn't kill the song for me. I just get that moment. And during the listening party with Luke the Goon and Mike Sears, they actually they referenced it to "Does a Bear Shit in the Woods?" And ever since then, I haven't really been able to not think, if a bear shits in the woods and no one's there to smell it, does it stink at all? I actually tweeted that, and I realized that came off shitty, because a lot of people are fucking with No Friends right now, really liking it, and I'm probably just shitting on their fucking song right now, their jam. So I ended up deleting that tweet, because I felt like an asshole after I put it out there. So if somebody saw that, that's why it's gone, because I felt like a dick. But yeah, I kind of think about that when that part comes on, and I've sung it like that. If a bear shits in the woods and nobody smells it, doesn't stink at all. Moving on to Scatter Brain 2. This song right here I've listened to maybe 2-3 times. I skip it every time. I don't care for the beat. I immediately thought of the first Scatterbrain when I listened to this, and the first Scatterbrain is just amazing. It's clowny, it's fun, it's goofy. I love that. That's what I was expecting with this, and this is complete polar opposite. This is literally just like, he's going out of his mind, and he's just like crazy random shit. And the beat's just too all over for me, and it honestly, when the beat starts, just like, and I skip. So that's I just don't listen to Scatterbrain 2. Just the first one. Jumping into The Stiff, this to me is I Found a Body Part 2. And that being said, I feel like this song is completely unnecessary. I know it's the only one with a Mikey Clark beat, and a lot of people are really fiending for Mikey Clark to come back. But this song here, it feels unnecessary on the album, because Something's in My Room is on the album. When that song, we'll get into what that song's about. But with that song being on here, I feel like this song is kind of pointless. Literally, it's I Found a Body 2. He finds this body, he hangs out with it. Did I make a friend till the very end, or did I fucking fuck up again? To me, it just feels unnecessary. It's kind of slow paced too, so I don't know. I've seen some people say that they feel like this song was supposed to be on Whoa. I could see that, but if it was on Whoa, it would definitely just be a J track. I don't think Shaggy. I don't feel like Shaggy fits on this at all. It's a slower paced song. Admittedly, I had skipped it a few times during my listens, but I do listen to it every so often. I just feel like it's a slower paced song, so that does tend to get skipped a little bit. Jumping into Horrendous Ways, the chorus is fire. I love the chorus. I don't have any complaints with the chorus at all. I have minor critiques with the verses. I feel like some of the storytelling in here is him more talking on the beat rather than telling a story with the beat. I had kind of the note that I have here is that I wish he channeled more of his Killing Fields type storytelling here, because in that one he's kind of storytelling as well, but he's doing it with the beat. Laying in my bed, I think of many horror tales. You know what I mean? Like he did that really good, and I feel like having that on this beat could have been fresher. Like the first verse I love a lot, but then it kind of, and one thing I had seen the homie Wasteland Waldo put out there is that he feels like the story builds and then just abruptly they die. Which I mean I guess is kind of the point. Like they died in a horrendous way very abruptly. But it's kind of like it's building up, and like he's in the first verse they're talking about how we need your consent to break your legs, and there's a lot of blood rushing to your vein. Oh, never mind, you're dead. Out of here. It's so abrupt, and the flow and the buildup of it, and it just like I feel like there was no grace into the chorus, and I kind of feel like that with all three. Those are the minor tweaks that I have with that, but I actually really like Horrendous Ways quite a bit. I'm starting to look over those little critiques and enjoying the song a lot more, but in the beginning I was kind of like I felt like there was more opportunity here with it, and I wasn't liking it, but it's grown on me quite a bit. Getting into Something's in My Room. I enjoy this a lot. I only listened to it 1 or 2 times when the single came out, and listening to it with the album, and the reason why I only listened to the single a couple times, same way with A Harrowing Time, is because usually listening to a single, you're not getting it in the full context of the album, and that's why I purposely only listened to it a couple of times, because I wasn't enjoying the singles. Listening to it on the album, I'm enjoying the singles a lot more. There are a few lines in here that are cringy to me. The ones about molest and rape. I feel like they're in there for shock value, and they just make me cringe. I felt like they were completely unnecessary lines. I actually kind of rewrote them. The part where he says, I'm not even dressed, will I be molest? Instead of will I be molest, I put I don't look my best, or I feel like that could have sounded better. It does rhyme. And then with the it's probably here to cause a killing, I put it wants to take my life away, except I'm completely willing. That to me sounds better. But I mean, I get why they're in there, and the whole kind of concept of this song, and this is why I feel like this made the stiff unnecessary, is he's literally so alone, has nobody, that this entity is in his room. It's probably there to kill him. It's probably there to do horrible shit to him. And he doesn't even care. He just doesn't want to be alone anymore. That I love that. I fuck with that a lot. To me that's a great concept for a song, and it was very well executed. Again, those couple of lines, I was like, it just feels cringy. Like even the part where he says, I suggest we strip nude and play a game of Twister. Even that line is like, why do you have to get nude? Like, I guess that's supposed to maybe display the sheer desperation of he's so alone, like he wants to do sexual things with this entity. But it makes sense. It makes sense. It makes me cringe, because I'm like, I don't want to strip nude and fucking play Twister, because I'm super self-conscious like a motherfucker. To me, it would be, I suggest we have some fun and play a game of Twister. That to me it rings better to me, because it just does. Again, minor gripes, but they're notes that I put. The Herder. I love it. It's clowny. I wonder if this was meant for Whoa. This feels like something from Whoa. I could hear Shaggy on this for sure. This is like Mutilator type shit. But maybe that's why they didn't put it on Whoa. Maybe they decided to use it for this because they didn't want it to seem too redundant with having the Mutilator on Wicked Vic and then having the Herder on Whoa. That makes sense to me. Another note that I have here is Shaggy the Airhead is the best at emulating Mikey Clark and the OG Joker card sound. I'm sure a lot of people are going to disagree with that statement right there, but I feel like he's doing it the best. Send in the Clowns off of Wicked Vic, that had old school vibe feels to it. I feel like Ding Ding Doll has old school vibes to it. I know people hate that fucking song, and I don't understand why. That to me, Ding Ding Doll gives me Toy Box vibes. It's got all of the crazy sounds in it, but people found the ones annoying in Ding Ding Doll, but they didn't find them annoying in Toy Box. I don't understand that logic. It is what it is, though. I'll still enjoy the shit. But I do feel like Shaggy the Airhead, he's like really great at emulating Mikey Clark. I would be curious to hear a lot more songs that they do with Shaggy the Airhead, because I'm curious how close he could make something sound fucking old school. He's killing it right now, I think. That jumps us into A Harrowing Time. I feel like this should have closed the album. It is a great closer. I've seen people say that they feel like this should have been the intro. I don't feel like this should have been the intro. I feel like as an intro I would skip it more, but having this as a final track or having it close, I mean, where it's at, it's actually perfect, I think. But I do feel like this would be a great closer, because you're closing out that harrowing time, and like maybe he could have closed the album off with like he finally fucking killed himself, and now he's going through what he's going through in a harrowing time. But I really like this song. Like, it's very slow paced, and I literally listened to this song one time when the single came out because it felt very, very slow, and I knew immediately. I was like, I'm not going to like this song until I hear it on the album, and that's exactly what it took, was hearing it on the album in the full context of the album. So that brings us to the last track, which is Some Good Pussy. I did a reaction to it, obviously. I think during the listening party I was singing it. I really like this song. I could really love this song. I love the music. I like what Kuma did with the beat. I love what Kuma did with the music. That opening guitar, dun, 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 dun. Like, this is a feel good song. I like it a lot. The lyrical content is kind of what makes me to it, but I don't hate it. I really like the concept of it, and I feel like as it is, Some Good Pussy, it actually really fits this album good. Here you have somebody, no self-esteem, and that's the line in there. He's talking about how even if my self-esteem just isn't really quite there, he literally puts it in there that he has no self-esteem, but when he sees himself in this woman's clothes, he realizes he's fucking fine. So that, to me, it fits the theme of the album. This is someone who hates their life. They feel like they're nothing, but they see someone attractive. They see someone beautiful, and they're going to take their style. They're going to look like that person so they can be beautiful too. And then you kind of like realize this is a person who's having an identity crisis, and they're cross-dressing, and they look absolutely fucking hideous, but in their own mind now, they're this beautiful woman. So it fits the theme of the album perfectly. But with the music, I feel like this music is so good that I kind of wish there was like a found type song, like a Marvelous Missing Link found type song, where it's like a love letter to somebody who makes your life feel like it's worth living. Thanks to you, I am living my life, or you know what I mean? Like, I obviously I'm not a fucking songwriter, but like in my own head, it's kind of like, thanks to you, I'm living the fullest life with you, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like it could be a good way to put another Always out there from Zug Island. That's like a love letter to Jump Steady. To me, it could have been like another My Best Friend off of Brother. It could have been another Medals from the House Party Peep Show EP. Like, this could have been another song that they put out there that's like, if you feel like your life is meaningless or nothing, there's got to be somebody out there. Like, to leave this concept of this album, you go through this album and you're hearing all these songs about feeling like you're nothing, feeling like you're worthless, feeling like there's no reason to live. And then the last song ends off with, oh my God, he was just going through a depression spell. Like, mental illness, that's one of the biggest things about it, is like with Chester Bennington. Like, he literally was on vacation with his family a few days before he died. He went through some kind of depressive spell when he went home for that short time, and we know what happened. You know what I mean? Like, so this album could easily have encompassed depression and going through depression. This could have been a concept album of going through depression, and then it ends off with like, you finally come out of that hole and you see the light. Like, you see, like, thanks to you, I'm living my life to the fullest with you. Or, again, I'm not a songwriter. So I do kind of wish that there was that with the Some Good Pussy. So all in all, I thought this album was okay. It's grown on me quite a bit. I'm gonna say it's a good album. I'm not gonna say it's an amazing album, and I'm not gonna say it's the worst album. Early on listening to this, I was definitely in the negative with a lot of people. I actually had put out there in a few places that I felt like The Shining was better than Bloody Sunday, and I'm at a point now where they feel neck and neck, and I do feel like Bloody Sunday could actually be a better album to me. So, which is I think it's kind of cool that those two albums are in great contrast of each other. The Shining is literally it's like it's a play on the words from the movie, with the cover and everything, but it's actually more about having this characteristic of like you feel like your life is shining. You feel like you're just shining with so much charisma and karma and good vibes. I think is kind of where that's supposed to be. But top songs on here: Bloody Sunday, Pitch Dark, Something's in My Room, The Herder, and A Harrowing Time. Of course, with Bloody Sunday being my favorite because I already said that. I also have a note on here that kind of speculating on what songs I feel like were meant for Woe. I could see Clown Blood being originally for Woe. I could see In the Hole possibly being for Woe, because kind of where my head's at with Woe is, I'm interpreting it as like somebody who, woe is me. Like, oh my God, you have life so good. They bring you down because they're like their life's meaningless, so they try to pull you down. That's kind of how I'm interpreting Woe right now, but it hasn't even come out, so I can't fully say that. Pitch Dark, I feel like would have been Shaggy on this beat. Whew, fucking imagine how Shaggy would sound on Pitch Dark. He'd fucking slaughter that shit. And I also feel like The Herder was originally meant for Woe, and I had that in my notes. So my final thoughts are, all jokes and critiques aside, I feel like this is a great album. It took some time, but it got better with every spin, and I'm finding more I like about this album. So tell me down below what you guys thought about Bloody Sunday. If you started off disliking it and liking it, and it grew on you, tell me what it was about it that did. And if you're not feeling it, I guess be respectful in the comments and tell me what it is you didn't like about the album. Tell me down below what your guys' favorite songs are, and what songs do you feel like could have, should have, or would have been on Woe if it came out on time and these songs ended up on Woe instead of on this. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next time.